everyone and welcome back. I'm back again, and today we are going to be building to-do app with React, Redux, and also for the styling we're going to use Chakra UI. Alright, so let's see the final project. This is the final project. As you can see, we have the heading here, the input, the to-do list, and the visibility filters here, the tab navigations. And let's add some to do. Let's say coding. I click enter. Now we have coding down here. Let's say meditation, for example, and let's say meet friend for lunch. As you can see, we have 3 to do, and we on the all tab. Okay, so if I click maybe coding, I'm done with the coding, and as you can see in the completed we have just coding. All right, in completed we have to do here meditation and meet friend for lunch. If I click all, we get all to do. All right, that's what we're going to be building. So simple, guys. So let's get going. The first thing that what we need to do is let's go to the VS Code here. And I have already have a folder called to do app React Redux, and I'm going to create React app with a template called Redux. I'm going to use yarn and just copy this and paste that right here, and the name application is going to be this current folder, so I can just get rid of this my app here and say dot, meaning that will be create React app in this current folder here. Let's hit enter and wait. All right, so now we're done. Let's open the app, yarn start. That's going to be open. I'm going to stop my final project here and close the terminal, and let's run that again. Yarn start. That's going to be open the app in localhost with port 3000, I believe. That's what we have. Okay, so let's go to the source folder here, and I'm going to remove everything that we don't need. Okay, I'm going to remove the app filters, CSS here, index, CSS, logo, service worker, setup test. Inside the source we just have index and app.js. So let's get rid of this, all the filter. Okay, so now we just have index and app. All right, so in index I'm gonna remove everything here, and let's get rid of this. We are going to back to with provider, but for now just want to remove everything, and this thing again. Okay, so let's go to the app, and we need to remove everything in up here, and let's get rid of this header here. Okay, so let's just put h1 and say app. All right, so I want to make it bigger like that. So if I refresh, now we just have app. All right, so cool. So what we need to do first is I want to start with the styling. Okay, so we need to use Chakra UI for this tutorial. So I can just copy this and paste that right here. That's going to be install the Chakra UI, emotion, and all this kind of stuff. All right, so let's go to the source here. We're going to create a folder called components, and inside the components I'm going to create a couple files inside in here. Let's just say add to do.js, and we're going to create to do.js and also to do list.js and visibility filter. Visibility filter.js. Okay. So in the add to do here, RRFC, and hit enter. I'm going to put add to do, add to do, and into do here, let's say RRFC, and I'm gonna say to do, and into the list, I want to say RRFC again. Let's say to do list, and in visibility, RRFC. Let's say nav filter. Okay, so let's go back to app now. I'm gonna close the terminal here. I'm going to import, the first thing that we need to import is a container, because I want to wrap our app with a container. Okay, so let's import container. It's gonna be from Chakra UI / React, and let's put the container here and the ending here as well. So now if I save, now we should be able to see the container. No, it's not working. Okay, that's because in index.js here we don't wrap our app with Chakra provider. Okay, so let's do here. I want to give a comment. This is for the Chakra UI. So let's import Chakra provider, I believe. That's going to be from Chakra UI / React, and we need to wrap our app entire here with Chakra provider like that. Let's cut that out and put that inside in here. All right, here we go. So now save, and let's take a look. Okay, our app now is in the middle. That means this container here is work. Okay, in container we have couple props in here. I'm gonna use the maximal width. I'm gonna set that into container, I want to say small, I think. To see the effect, we can just use background, and let's say red 300 or something. This is what we have. Okay. All right, so next I want to import the heading from the Chakra UI heading. And wait, what happened? Heading, and let's just, can I do control space in here? Oh yeah, we can auto import with control space. Okay, so inside a heading, I'm gonna say to do list, and I'm gonna say margin of vertically into let's say 4. Okay, that's what we have. So let's just get rid of this background. Okay, that sounds cool. So now we need to import the add to do, the form, right? Let's say add to do like so, and now we have the add to do here. Let's go to add to do. So inside of add to do here, we need to create form, right? Let's say form here. We don't need the action. Okay, inside this form, we need to create form control from the Chakra UI. So let's say form control, gonna be auto import up here. Okay, cool. And inside in here, basically in the final project, we cannot see that for now because yeah, but anyway, in the final project we have form and then the button in the right side. That's why we need to wrap our form control inside of flags. Okay, that's like the display flags in CSS. All right, So let's say flex like so, and I'm gonna say control space and enter. Let's put the form control up here. Okay, inside of form control I have input. Okay, so let's import the input like so. So inside the input I'm gonna set the type into text, and let's try to see the final project. As you can see here, you have the input. All right, cool. So under the input here, under the form control, we are going to put a button. Okay, button from the Chakra UI. So let's control space and hit enter. Now it's going to be auto import up here. Okay, so the text is going to be add to do. Okay, so now we have the button and the input field here. Okay, so inside this button here, I'm gonna give some props. I'm gonna say color schema. I'm gonna set into tail, and I'm gonna say the type should be submit, and I'm gonna say the disable is going to be the value. I want to create a value up here, and we're gonna create the value and set value. Okay, so that equals to use state. By default I'm gonna say empty string. Okay, and then we need to import this use state from React. Okay, and save. Let's take a look here. Let's type in something. Still disable. Yes, that's because we don't give this value from the set value here. We're going to add on change in here. So let's do on change, set that equals to handle input. Okay, or any function name you want. So in here I want to create a function called handle input, set that equals to, I want to grab the event here. So inside in here I'm going to say set value into e.target.value. e.target.value, that's mean everything you input inside this input field here. Okay, so now our value is going to be updated every time I type in something inside this input here. Okay, so now refresh. If I click something, as you can see, we can click. Okay, if that's empty, it's going to be disable. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to show you is I'm going to remove the border top right and border left, border bottom left. I don't know. Let's see here. Border top right radius, border top right radius. I'm gonna set that into 0, which is up here. Okay, that's gone. Should I make it bigger? As you can see, we don't have the border and the bottom here as well. So I can do border bottom right radius. This is what I mean. I'm gonna set that to 0. Now that is gone. Okay, and then in the bottom button, okay, button, I want to remove the border as well. So let's say border left top radius, or border top left radius. I'm gonna set it to 0, and then border bottom left, right? Bottom left radius, I'm gonna set that to 0. So now that's gone. Okay, that's what I want. So cool. let's reset the zoom. This is what we have. And what I want to do next is, as you can see, if I click add to do, the browser is reload. I don't want that to happen. So in handle input here, I'm gonna say e.prevent default. Okay, by putting this prevent default, the browser is not gonna be reload. Wait, that's still reload. Oh yeah, that's because we should put the prevent default in the button here, in the form, okay, or in the bottom if you have function here. But we are going to put the function in form. So in here, I'm gonna say on submit, set it equals to, let's say handle submit. Okay, we should create a function up here. Let's say const handle submit, set it equals to e, and we should put the prevent default into the handle submit right here. Okay, now save. If I put something in here and I click add to do, now there's not reload the browser. Okay, that's what we want. And also if I click add to do, I want to reset the value. So I can do in here, let's say set value into empty string. Okay, so now if I have text here, if I click add to do, set value empty string, what happened? Let's refresh and type something here, click add to do. We still see the value, but as you can see, the button here is disabled. That means value is empty, but in here we still see the value. We should put a value here, so that equals to value. Okay, so now let's try that again. Bam, gone. Bam, gone. Cool. So next, I'm going to create the to-do list. Let's go to the list here. Let's put the to-do list into the app. Let's say to-do list like so, and we need to go back to to-do list here. So inside the to-do list here, we are going to returning box. Let's get rid of that. Let's do box here, and inside in here I'm gonna say no to do, no to do's, let's say yay. Okay, and I'm going to say the text line to center, and I'm gonna give a margin vertically into 4. That's all it is. Now we have no to do yay. All right, so next let's go to visibility filter here, and I'm going to import that first inside in here, inside the app.js file. Visibility filter. Now we should be able to see no filter here. Okay, before I work with visibility filter component, I'm going to create file called constants.js file, and inside in here I'm gonna export a variable. I'm gonna export the visibility filter, and I'm gonna set that equals to, and I'm gonna say all. Let's say all here, I think uppercase, and I have completed. It's going to be completed, and also incompleted. These should be incompleted. All right, so that's what we want. So now let's go back to the visibility filter here. I'm going to remove the React up here. So next I want to wrap this inside a container. Wait, container from Chakra UI. So let's say import. Wait, import container from from oh my god, Chakra UI / React, and we need to put, I'm gonna put the nav filter into the center, so I can use property called center content, set that to true. If I do that, now nav filter into the center. Okay, so now in here I'm going to say tabs from Chakra UI, and inside the tabs we have tab list, I believe, and inside the tab list we have tab for individual tab. Okay, so in here I'm going to say maybe all, and maybe completed, and maybe incompleted, like so. Now we have the tab, but we can do we can use this visibility filter variable, so we can just get rid of this everything here, and inside in here I'm going to open the curly braces. I'm gonna say object, and I'm going to put object.key, I believe, and I'm going to put the visibility filter from the constants file, right? And in here I'm gonna map through all the object, and I'm gonna grab the filter key, and in here I'm going to open something like this, and inside in here I'm gonna create a variable called current filter, set that equals to let's say visibility filter. I'm gonna access the filter key. Okay, now if I console.log the current filter, of course we are going to grab the all completed and incompleted. Okay, so here we need to return tab. All right, and let's see something like this, and inside in here I'm gonna put the current filter, and inside the tabs here I'm going to put the key, and let's just say I'm gonna use backtick here, visibility dash filter dash let's say current filter here, current filter, and under in here I'm gonna say function. Yeah, we're going to work that later, so for now just something like this for just fine. Object key is not a function, that's because it should be uppercase, like so. Now we have the nav tab here. Okay, I think we're done with the styling here. Now let's working with the Redux. All right. Okay, so now we need to, inside the source folder, I'm gonna create folder called Redux, and inside this Redux I'm gonna create folder called Reducer, and I'm going to create file inside the Redux here. Let's say store.js. Okay, so inside the Reducer here I'm going to create index.js, and I'm gonna create one file again. Wait, what happened here? I'm gonna create one file again inside the Reducer, which is reduce.js. Okay, so what is this? Okay, so now Let's first go to the todos.js file, and in here I'm going to say rfc and hit enter. And we don't need to import React up here. So what we need to do in here is I'm going to export default like so, and let's get rid of these cons. Okay, and in here we can grab the state and also the action. Okay, and the state here I'm going to set it equals to initial state. Okay, the initial state, which is just a variable, let's create up here, initial state, set it equals to object here, and I'm gonna create a to-dos. For now, I just want to create a dummy data, and I'm gonna say, let's just say one object here. I'm gonna say, let's just say ID1 content, let's say coding, and completed, set it to false. Okay, so now here you don't need to returning JSX here. I'm going to use switch. Okay, and let's put the action in here, and action.type basically, and I just want to returning the state for now. Okay, we know that of course we need to say cast default, I think, or just say default. Okay, default, I want to return state. State is basically just this to-dos here. Okay, all right, so now let's go to index.js inside a reducer here. So in here basically we can combine 2, 3, or maybe whatever reducer you want. For now we just have one. Okay, later on we are going to add the visibility reducer. So in here we are going to import something called combine reducer from Redux. Okay, and we are going to import the to-do as well. So import to-dos. Let's say if I typing to-dos, we have automatically from here, and then down here I'm going to say export default combine reducer. Okay, and inside in here I'm gonna say to-dos, set that to whatever the name you want. Okay, but for now I just want to say to-dos. If we just have a same name here, we can remove that and say to-dos. If we have another reducer, I can just do import maybe visibility filter, and from visibility filter, and we can say comma here and put the visibility filter down here. Okay, we're going to do that in a minute, but now let's just do with to-dos. Okay, so now let's go to the store. So in store here we are going to create store. Okay, so we need to import something called create store. It's going to be come from Redux. Okay, and we need to import, let's say root reducer from /reducer, or we can just access the index. But if you access the index, you don't need to specify the index, just say reducer here, and then we can do export default and create reducer, create store, and we pass the root reducer inside the create store function. Okay, now we can go to the index right here and we can import the store. Okay, so let's do up here, we can say import. The first thing that we need to import provider. provider from React Redux, because we need to, our React app is connected with Redux, we need to use provider here. And then we need to import store from dot slash redux slash store. Okay, and we need to wrap our app with provider like so, and we need to just cut that out, this everything, and put that in here like so, and we need to put store static equals to store. Okay, and that's it. All right, so now we have the error here. They say todos is not defined, so let's go back to todos.js in the reducer here, and you can use a function, keyword function, or I just need to export default todos here, and let's just say cons here. All right, so let's put that like so. Now save, and we see object is defined but never used. Let's go back to visibility filter and remove this object. So now this is going to be compiled successfully. And the next thing that I need to show you is how that we can grab these to do. Okay, we need to grab these to dos from any component that we want. Okay, so for example, into to-do list, I'm going to access the to-dos from the reducer. So how that we can do that? So we can use import, use selector from React Redux, and inside this to-do list component here, we can do cons. I can access the to-dos, set that equals to, use selector, and let's say state dot, no, just like that. Okay, so now we can be able to access the to-dos from here. Okay, so if I lock to-dos, now we should be able to see the to-dos array. As you can see here, we have to-dos, this is array. Okay, so what we need to do now is I want to showing the to-dos in this node to do yay. Okay, so let's do here. What I'm going to do is I want to say box here, wait, like so, and basically I want to put that inside the box, and inside the box here I'm going to check to-dos dot length. If the to-dos have a value, I'm going to map through the to-dos. Let's say to-dos dot map. I'm gonna grab the individual to-do, and I'm going to returning the to-do variable here. No, to-do component, I mean. But let's say here I'm gonna say else. I'm gonna put the no to do yay inside in here. Okay, so inside in this map here, I'm gonna say to do. This to do should be come from the to do component here. Okay, so let's import that, control space. Now we have to do from to do, and if I save, now we should see wait, to do, we have to do, right? All right, so that's because in the, where's my to-dos here, I just returning state. Okay, state is the initial state right here, so we can access the to do. We can use state.todos. Okay, we can do in here, or we can just put that in here, todos.todos. But let's try to refresh. Now we should have to do. Okay, because we can access to do from the, where's my to do's here, state.todos. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now let's get rid of this log here, and I'm going to, as you can see here, we have the error, and we can fix that by say key set that equals to, I'm gonna say to do dash, let's say to do.id. Okay, and in here I'm gonna pass through the to do as a property. Okay, now the error should be gone. Let's go to the to-do.js. So in here we can just remove everything here. I'm going to use box again here. Let's say box from the React Chakra UI/React, and I'm going to remove the React here. So inside this box here we have check box from the Chakra UI. Let's import that, and inside this checkbox here we have tags. All right, so let's put tags. This is going to be come from Chakra UI as well. Let's do here, and we can grab the to do here, individual to do. Let's put to do.content because we need to access the content. Okay, so now save. As you can see, we have coding. All right, pretty much cool. So let's go to the box up here. I'm going to add margin bottom to 1, and I'm gonna give a background color so that equals to like coral, and I'm gonna say padding to 2, and inside the text box here I'm gonna do color scheme into teal, and let's say is check. I'm gonna say check here is going to be a state. Let's say cons check and is check, so that equals to use state. By default I'm gonna say false. Okay, and then yeah, I think let's try to see. This is what we have. I need the margin, I think, here, so I can go back to the list here and add a margin vertically into 3, for example. Now we have space. Okay, we cannot check that because this is come from the check from the state here. In text here we can use as set that equals to delete del. As you can see, we have the line right there, so we can check. So let's say here I can do to do dot completed. If that true, I want to say del in here, like so. Okay, so let's try to do this here and change the completed to true. Now let's try to refresh. Bam. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, I think we're done with all this kind of stuff. So now we need to, every time I type something in here, and I click add to do, I want to showing the to do down here. Okay, how do we do that? Let's go to the add to do's here. But before we dispatch any function from action, of course we need to create the action first. So in Redux here, I'm going to create a file. I'm going to remove everything, so make it clean. And inside the Redux here, let's create a file called actions.js file. And I'm going to create one file again called action type .js file. So in action types here, I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to export that. The first thing is add to do, add underscore to do, so that equals to add underscore to do. And I'm gonna say export. Let's just copy and paste that, I think. And the second is should be the toggle to do, so that equals to toggle underscore to do. And the last thing is the set underscore filter, and let's say set underscore filter. Okay, let's go to action now. So in here, the first thing is I'm going to import all the variable that we create from the action types. Okay, and we need to import the add to do, the toggle, and the filter. I'm gonna create let's say export cons. I'm gonna create a function called add to do, and in here that's going to be arrow function, I think. And I grab the to do. The to do here is gonna be come from the input field. Okay, and I'm going to say I'm gonna returning object here. Okay, and inside this object I'm gonna say type. The type here is going to be add underscore to do. Okay, and the payload that we want to send here is basically ID and content, right? But we don't send the ID from the to do here, so I just want to create the ID manually in here. Let's say next to do ID, set it equals to 0 for the first time. And in here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say plus plus next to do ID. Okay, it's going to be decrement the ID. And in here, I'm going to say content, set it equals to the to do. Or we can just give a same name, I think. We can just content and remove the to do here, like so. Let's do the same thing basically. So we're done with the add to do function here. And yeah, for now we can just save, and let's go back to the reducer to do's here. So in here we can import the variable from the action type dot slash. Okay, we need to import the add to do and toggle to do. Okay, so in here action type is basically whatever you send in here. Okay, it's going to be add to do here. If I add to do, the type is going to be add to do, which is right here. Okay, so in here we need to add case. Okay, if the case is add underscore to do, okay, that's mean the function here fire. Okay, I want to returning, what happened? I want to returning object here with to do's. It's going to be an array, and in here I'm going to send all the state dot to do's, which is here. Okay, we know that in here, and I'm going to add the to do here with new to do. Okay, I'm going to send a destructuring up here, I think. Let's say cons grab the ID and content from the payload, from the action.payload, I think. Action.payload. Okay, so this is going to be this thing here, action.payload. Okay, we can access the ID and content. I'm destructuring here. Okay, and in here I'm gonna say content and completed. Of course, it's going to be false first, and then the ID. Okay, let's try to save, and let's see we can add to do or not. Let's say meditation. Click add to do, nothing happened. Okay, what happened in here? Oh really, that's because in the add to do we don't dispatch anything in here. So let's go in here, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a variable called dispatch, and in here I'm gonna say use dispatch with this patch auto import from React Redux. And in here what I can do, inside the handle submit here, in here I'm gonna say dispatch, and the function that we need to dispatch is add to do from the action. So we need to import up here. Okay, make sure you import, and we need to send the value. Okay, we know that this value is going to be here, and every time we handle the change the value, it's going to be set the value here from the state, going to be changed here, and after we finish typing here, and if I click the submit, add to do here fire. Okay, so let's save. Let's see. Meditation, the moment of truth. Bam. Add to do is not terrible. Oh, what is this? Alright, so let's take a look at the to-do list here, and we should put to-dos again in here, I think. The to-dos.to-dos. Okay, we're gonna fix that in a minute, but for now I just want to let's go back to to-dos here, which is we need to return state, and let's try. We have to-dos, and if I add meditation, add to do, we have meditation down here. Okay, I countered 2 children with the same key to do 1. That's because in here we put the ID 1, and then in the action we start from 0, and if the add to do here fire, we increment the 0. That's why the first to do you add have ID 1. Okay, you can just remove everything here. Now we just have empty array. If I save and let's refresh, if I have meditation add to do, we have meditation. If I put coding here, we have coding. Okay, so now we need to work with the text box here. Okay, so let's go to the to do. I believe here we have the text box here. In here we can add a on change function, so we can say on change set that equals to handle check. I want to create a function called handle check. Okay, and let's copy this and create a function up here, const handle check, set that equals to arrow function here, and in here I want to give just one line here, and in here I'm gonna import dispatch again, put a variable and say dispatch, so that equals to use dispatch here, and it's gonna become from React Redux, invoke the use dispatch function, and inside in here I'm gonna say dispatch, and I'm going to create a function in action. The function name is going to be toggle to do, and in toggle to do we need the ID, so we can access the to-do.id. Okay, so let's just import toggle to do. We don't have yet from where is the action? All right, so now toggle to do is not come from action, but we are going to create that. So down here, let's export a function called toggle to do, so that equals to, it's going to be grab the ID. All right, and I'm going to return an object again in here. So what we can do in here is we need to specify the type. The type is going to be a toggle underscore to do, and we need to send the payload. Payload is going to be just the ID. Okay, so after we create the function in action, we should go to the to-dos reducer here, and we are going to create another case. Okay, that's how the Redux work. Okay, so let's do down here, we need to create case. The case now is going to be toggle to do. Okay, and down here we need to destructuring the ID. The ID is going to be come from the action.payload. All right, and in here I'm going to create variable called to-dos, set that equals to, I'm going to say state.to-dos. I'm going to access the state, and then in here I'm going to map through. Let's say map. We grab the object inside the to-dos. All right, and inside in here I'm going to say object.id, okay, equals to ID. If that's true, I want to grab all the object. Okay, I want to grab the object if the object.id same with ID that we send in the action toggle to do here. Okay, I want to grab all the object, and then I want to grab the completed, and then the completed I want to change the object dot completed. Okay, if false we need to change that to true. If true we need to change that into false. Okay, so else we need to just return object. Okay, that's what we need. So in here we can just return object here, and let's put to-dos, set that equals to to-dos, but we have same name, so just put to-dos, and that was fine. ID has already been declared. It's been declared up here. We can just put that right here, put inside in here, and we can do here, put everything inside in here. Expect an assignment function call and inside cell expression. All right, that's because we don't returning anything inside in the map here, so we can just return like so. Everything should be fine now. As you can see, everything is work. If I say meditation, if I say coding, and if I click meditation, now the styling is changed. All right, but his checks is not updated. Let's go to the to-do now. So now we need to change this check. Okay, we can use, I'm going to use effect, by the way. Let's use effect here. I'm going to import automatically from React, and down here I'm gonna run the use effect wherever the to do change. Okay, so inside in here I'm gonna say set check. Why this is check? Set check like so. And in here it's gonna be set check, set that equals to do dot completed. Okay, so now save and let's take a look. If I refresh and add meditation and coding again, if I click that, as you can see everything is work perfectly fine. So what we can do, what I want to do next is let's go back to to-dos here. I just want to remove the return here. Let's just make one line like so. Okay, that's gonna be work just fine. Meditation, and here we go. Okay, I think we're done with the add to do it and the toggle to do. The next thing is I'm going to work with the tab here. All right, so let's first go to the action here. I'm gonna create another function in here. Let's say export fonts. I'm gonna say set filter. Okay, set that equals to set filter, need a filter name. So in here I'm gonna returning object again, and let's say the type is going to be the set filter. Okay, set underscore filter, and the payload is going to be the filter. We grab the filter like so, or just put filter like we do in ID here. Okay, so now it's fine here. Let's go to the reducer. I'm gonna create another reducer. Let's say visibility filter, visibility filter.js file. Alright, so in here we can do rfc, hit enter, and of course we don't need the return JSX in here. We need to grab the, let's get rid of this import. We need to grab the state and action. All right, and we can create a variable up here called const initial state, set it equals to, I'm gonna grab the visibility filter from the constant here. Okay, so let's do visibility filter dot all. Okay, so we know that the initial value is going to be, let's go to constant, it's going to be all. Okay, that's all it is, and we send the state into initial state. Okay, so in here we need to use switch again. Okay, so in here I'm gonna grab the action dot payload. No, not payload, the type. All right, because in here we grab send the type here. Okay, so we need to also import the set filter from action types. Okay, so we can put that in here. What the name is, set filter, I think. All right, so here if the case is set filter, okay, what we need to do is we need to return action dot payload dot filter. Okay, we need to returning the filter. If I send the filter completed, we need to return in completed. Okay, that's all it is. And default, we need to returning the state, which is initial state, which is all right. Let's go back to to-dos. I want to make consistently everything like so. Okay, let's close that again. Okay, so in here I'm going to export default. You can export that like so, but I want to make everything consistent, so export default visibility filter. Okay, we're done with this reducer. We need to go to the index, and in here we need to say comma, and let's say visibility filter. Of course, we need to import visibility filter from visibility filter, and we do export down here as well. Now save, and we can use the visibility filter anywhere we want inside the component. Okay, so now let's close everything. The constant, the to do here, we don't work with to do. We work in here, and visibility, we don't work with action, we work with here. Okay, so now of course we can change the state here with the action from the set filter here. So let's do that in the visibility filter. You remember, of course, the first thing is we need to import a selector, right? No, a dispatch. Okay, dispatch, so that goes to use dispatch. Okay, and we need to say in here, let's do on click in here. In the tab, we need to on click, and I want to, you can create function outside the return here. I just want to put that inside in here. It's fine. Let's say, wait, let's say dispatch, and the function name, I believe set filter. Let's say set filter. Just make sure you import up here. Okay, come from action, and what we need to send is the current filter. Okay, so now we can change the state of the visibility filter by click the tab here. Okay, so what we need to do next is we need to filter these to-dos. Okay, I need to create another file. I'm gonna create file inside of Redux. I'm gonna say selector .js, of course, and inside in here I'm going to import visibility filter from the constant. Okay, and inside in here I'm going to export cons, just give a function name. I'm going to say get to-dos by visibility filter. Okay, stack two parameter here. It's gonna be arrow function. Stack two parameter. The first is the store, and then the visibility filter. Okay, so inside in here I'm gonna say switch. It's depend on the visibility filter, right? Okay, so if the case is let's say visibility filter dot completed. Okay, if the case is completed, I want to return the store dot, I'm gonna grab the to-dos, and I want to filter by the completed, right? We can say to do, let's say to do dot completed, like so. Okay, so if the case is visibility filter dot incompleted, we need to return store dot to-dos dot filter, and I want to say to do, and let's say to do dot completed, which is false, right, for now. And if default, I want to return all the store dot to dos. Okay, let's go back to to-do list now. Alright, so in here I'm going to create variable called filter to dos, set that equals to, I'm gonna grab the get to do visibility filter function, its long name, and in here I'm gonna put the to dos and the visibility filter, visibility filter, I believe it's gonna become from the where is my reducer? Here. Okay, visibility filter, just make sure you have same name, paste that here and paste that here. Okay, so now filter to do have the to do that what we want. So in here I'm going to wrap everything and change that to filter to do. So now magic will be happen. If I click all, let's put coding, fab, two children with the same key. What happened? Let's refresh. Let's put meditation. Let's also put coding, and let's put meeting. If I click coding done, and we can still see all the to-dos, right? If I go to completed, we just see coding. If I go to it completed, we get the meditation and meeting. Alright, I think we're done with this project, and I hope you learned something new, guys. And I'm going to put this code in the description. You can download that if you want. So thank you so much for watching until the end. Love you so much, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye.